So guys, I get a lot of questions on which is the best profession in the War Within for gold making. So in today's video, we are going to go through on what I think is the top 3 best profession right now in the War Within for gold making. There is going to be no particular order in what way we go through the professions. Those 3, in my opinion, are kinda equally good, and it's the 3 that I see most potential with right now in game. I am going to briefly go through which specialization you need to be able to craft profitable, and also what tools you need, and at the same time show you some of the crafts that I like to do to actually make bank. If you guys haven't already, I would be grateful if you want to subscribe. It's totally free, and I have a goal of reaching 3,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Please also like the video, but without further ado, let's go. So the first profession we're actually going to talk about is going to be engineering. I'm not sure if you guys are very familiar with engineering, if you have tried it out yet, or if it's still something you haven't done. I see a lot of people actually being quite afraid of going for engineering. They don't feel like it's a good profession for making gold, but in this expansion it has been really great so far, and in Dragonflight it was amazing as well. So I think engineering has done a huge comeback. If it even ever has been bad, I feel like it is insanely good right now, and it offers you a lot of different scrap that you can do, and actually engineering is quite easy to set up as well. So basically with engineering, you're crafting parts that is used in a variety of things, such as profession equipment, embellishments and other stuff, but it actually sells quite well, and you can sell a lot of this every day. From what I've seen so far, engineering is kind of always profitable. The parts is pretty much always green. I have not been seeing a lot of times where it's actually not profitable. A lot of other professions is actually a little bit more volatile, I feel. Some days it's not as profitable, but engineering seems to be quite stable, and you can actually rely on it pretty hard. So the basic setup with engineering is going to be to have the multi-craft tool. This is the only tool you will need for engineering, and it is absolutely the best one. So you're going to want the blue one, rank 5 of course, enchanted with Biz Resourcefulness, and you're going to want the blue accessories as well. Those are less mandatory for engineering, but you should strive after to get them, of course, but they are not as important as the tool. The setup for engineering in specialization is actually quite easy as well. All you actually need is this spec right here. You need 40 in inventing, 30 in scrapper, 40 in parts, and 15 in ingenious. You do not need 30 here, you just need 15. This will provide you with a buff when you actually invent. This is really important, guys. This will give you a lot of stats when you use this buff for 12 hours, so do not craft without having this buff on you. There is also a engineering bag that you can get if you want. It will provide you with a lot of extra scrap when you are engineering, so I highly recommend you to go and get that one if you want to, but it's not mandatory for doing the basic parts crafts, because it doesn't impact your parts crafting. So what you're focusing on crafting in engineering is basically going to be the parts. All of this can sell. The whimsical wiring, the bismuth bolts, gyrating gear, everything here can sell, but those 3 in the bottom is the one selling fastest, but it's worth crafting everything if it's profitable. Also, some extra items that I like to craft when they are profitable. They are not always profitable, but a lot of the times it is. I like to craft the energy redistribution beacon because it has been selling a lot for me in this expansion. And also I like to craft the convincingly realistic jumper cables. Those sell really well as well, and they usually have quite a good profit margin. Maybe it's because it's using scrap, but this one is really good to craft as well. So those are the highly recommended crafts that I like to do with engineering. This is what's going to make you most of the profit in this profession, and I hope you guys will like engineering a lot, and let me know if you have any additional questions about it in the comments below. Let's jump over to the next profession, which is going to be blacksmithing. Blacksmithing is also so far a really good profession in my opinion in the War Within. I have been seeing a lot of profit with it, and you can basically craft a lot of different stuff. What I like to do a lot now in this part of the expansion, I like to do a lot of mass crafting, AFK crafting. So for example, crafting a lot of alloys and selling them immediately on the auction house. but blacksmithing is offer you some other options as well. First of all, we're going to look at the equipment needed for blacksmithing. So you are once again going to need the multi-craft tool enchanted with resourcefulness, of course. Then you want the blue accessories, but same as engineering, you don't have to immediately get those, but you will see larger profit numbers with having those. So it's a priority, but first get the tool, of course. That is number one. For the specialization for blacksmithing, this can look overwhelming, but it actually isn't. So the basic things that you're going to need is you're going to need this 80 points here. This is the thing that is absolutely mandatory for you to be able to see profitable numbers. If you do not have those 80 points, it will be very, very hard for you to find profits. Once again, this is a crafting buff for blacksmithing that you get by crafting the ever-burning ignition and using it. It is a buff that lasts for 10 minutes and it gives you a lot of different stats. It gives you 245 multicraft and 270 resourcefulness for 10 minutes. As you guys can see, that is really, really impactful. So you have to have this one when you are crafting. Otherwise, you're actually, once again, not going to see profitable numbers. So make sure you go and get that. After you have gotten these 80 mandatory points, you can branch out, but this is not points you actually need for the profession. This is just additional points to advance in the profession, but you do not need those points to make profits. This will just allow you to do some more different diversified crafts. But first of all, prioritize getting the Fortune's Forges, because this actually gives you some multi-craft when crafting alloys and frameworks. So if this is the node that you're going to want to prioritize after the first 80 points here. So this is actually the only thing that will give you extra profitable numbers with those crafts. The other things here is just going to give you skill in stuff, and that's something you're going to want to work with afterwards, but that is absolutely not mandatory at all. So the crafts you're going to want to do in blacksmithing is all the different alloys here. They will give you different profits depending on when you craft. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's a little bit worse, but those can be really, really good and can really be mass crafted. So those are the 4 things you want to prioritize crafting. After that, you should be looking at the different stoneworks. You get some extra of those depending on how many knowledge points you have. So maybe you won't have all of them immediately, but those can be really good. Same with the frameworks. Those are actually also really, really good to craft. They can sell pretty well and often have fairly decent profit margins. And that is pretty much it for blacksmithing. And the last but absolutely not least profession on the list that we're going to check out is inscription. Inscription has been one of my favorite professions going through this expansion as well. I actually have a lot of different favorite professions because I think they have been really, really nice this expansion, so I can't really decide which one I prefer, but inscription has been really, really nice. So inscription is actually a little bit like blacksmithing. You will be looking at kind of the same setup, but for inscription, you actually need 2 different crafting tools. This is going to be your priority because you need one for multicraft, enchanted with resourcefulness, and you actually need one for resourcefulness, also enchanted with resourcefulness. To get the maximal amount of profits, you actually need to do the full circle. You're going to have to start with the milling herbs, and that's where you need the resourcefulness tool. And then you're going to want to go for the inks, and then you can go even further. If you don't want to sell the inks, you can go for the reagents, and then depending on what specialization you have, you can go even further, making either missives, dark moon sigils, Ventus runes, or whatever specialization you have. But you're going to need both of the tools because the compound effect that you get from doing the full circle is the part that is going to make this so very good and so very profitable. So make sure you get both of the blue tools first, then you can get the accessories. That's probably the order I would go, at least prioritize getting both of the tools. So for the basic specialization here, it's actually a little bit same as the blacksmithing. You're going to need 30 in this one, 30 in this one, and 30 in this one. This is going to give you a lot of different stats for all of your crafting here, both for milling and for crafting because it will give you resourcefulness and multicraft, which is amazing. Those 3 nodes here, the 90 points, it's going to be absolutely mandatory for this. You cannot do this without having those, so prioritize getting those points first. This is everything you need for a basic setup of this profession, because then you will be able to craft everything rank 2 for a profitable amount. So after you have gotten those 3 points here, ignore the Eureka, it's only for ingenuity, which impacts only concentration, which you do not need at all, so ignore that. After you got those 3, you can go into Pursuit of Perfection if you want, because this one is going to give you different skill points in different things. So this is basically going to allow you to make stuff at rank 3. This is not needed really, you can do it if you want to. This is going to be a little bit more volatile since you invest more gold per craft, but it can also be very, very good. Sometimes give you more profit per craft. So this is basically what I would recommend you to go after Pursuit of Knowledge if you want to make rank 3 stuff. I would probably go this route. You can go for other things as well. The Careful Carvings, pretty much useless unless you want to craft gear. I would not go this way. But if you want to craft gear for some reason, you can go here. Otherwise, you can start working out like me here. I went this route so I can make missives at rank 3. Now I can also make contracts at rank 3. I have 30 more points to spend. Probably I will go into Vantage Runes. You can go the other route as well, but I think going the right here is going to be optimal. But this, as I said guys, this is not mandatory. You do not need to get those stuff to be able to profit with Inscription. The only thing that is mandatory is those 90 points here. And the other thing that is mandatory doing Inscription is to do the full circle, guys. Once again, you have to do the milling with the resourcefulness tool, and then you have to do the inks with the multicraft tools. And guys, you will see profit. You will see profit. This has been one of the best professions so far going through this expansion, in my opinion. But this is my top 3 professions for now. I really like them. If you guys have any other profession that you prefer over the ones that I have talked about today, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.